guys, welcome back into the channel. In today's video, I wanted to do another which ratings matter for a specific position within College Football 25. I'd like to round out this video series so we have quite a few positions we still have to cover. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about running backs. We're going to be using Dylan Montgomery, the freshman running back within this dynasty as a 3-star recruit, as our primary example for this video. He is a great example because he exemplifies a lot of what you need out of a running back to be successful in this game without having already been a 5-star or elite dev recruit and being an absolute monster of a player to begin with. Now, you can have a lot of success with a player that is a low overall if they have the right ratings within this game, as you can see with Dylan Montgomery winning the Heisman Trophy, having achieved nearly 2,000 yards during this season, and that is excluding playoffs because we didn't make the playoffs with this team, unfortunately. 31 rushing touchdowns, leading our team in receiving as well with 1,070 yards and 11 receiving touchdowns. An absolutely phenomenal player, an elusive back, and as you can see, he doesn't really have that many abilities over here either, and all of those are only at a silver level, so not anything absolutely crazy. A lot of that makes sense. He's not going to have some of the best abilities in the game, and he's not going to necessarily have the best ratings within the game. What he does offer, though, is a really athletic, really solid skill set that can be utilized and improved upon to be a really awesome workhorse running back for you within College Football 25. This is going to be very much similar to the information that I've given you in Madden in recent years. And really what it comes down to more than anything is athleticism. Athleticism. If they're able to turn the corner with speed, if they're able to get past the line with speed, if they're able to break away with speed, it all translates to more yards, more opportunities, more touchdowns, and just generally overall better performance. As you can see, he is now up to 94 speed, 96 acceleration, which is absolutely massive. The most important ratings for a player within College Football 25 at the running back position is always going to be their acceleration. You can get away with a lower speed running back if they have really good acceleration, being that they're able to get up to their top speed quicker. For this position where you are often operating within tight spaces, you are often trying to break away from linebackers and defensive linemen, proper use of the turbo button and proper timing for those things is incredibly important, and getting up to top speed in those short areas is going to be the most important factor. The second most important factor is, of course, going to be their speed rating. Speed is going to dictate so much within this game. Regardless of what skill level you're playing on, speed is king. And then, of course, I always love to talk about agility and change of direction. It is incredibly important for these players that are going to be changing direction more than almost any other position on the field to be able to change direction in small and large factors, and that's what these apply to. Agility is more of those twitchy changes of direction, whereas change of direction itself is more for those large switches in direction, potentially going from left to right without necessarily making a juke move or a spin move, which might not always be the best if you are limited to a player like a 3-star running back. One rating that I feel like goes maybe a little bit unnoticed that is really, really important for running backs is actually their strength rating. This is going to help in all break tackle situations. That is a large part due to the changes they've made to the algorithms whenever they've updated Madden and then carried some of that stuff over to College Football 25. Strength factors in, and it can be really helpful in terms of breaking tackles. Starting off with strength that is closer to the mid 70s up into the 80s is going to be really, really good, really beneficial for breaking tackles within this game. And just to give you kind of the target point for speed, acceleration, agility, change of direction as well, agility and change of direction, you would love to be 90 and above. Anything better than that is just going to pay dividends even more. You'll really see a difference with a player that has 95 agility, for example. And then speed and acceleration also, 90 plus is that minimum baseline that I like to set. You can get away with more like 90 speed for a running back, but typically you want to see something more 94, 95, 96 range as far as acceleration is concerned, because that's really where we start to hit that point where you notice us getting up to our top speeds quicker and being able to kind of outmaneuver opponents with that capability. Then I want to talk about ball carrier vision. And this is one that I've written off in the past as a rating that is more focused towards a player if they are simulated, where I would kind of talk about awareness as well. But I've been kind of led more towards the side of ball carrier vision actually factoring into the algorithm as far as break tackle scenarios and being able to get off of one-arm tackles, players that are reaching out of blocks and those types of things. Ball carrier vision does seem to have a really large impact on a player's capabilities, even in user gameplay in College Football 25. So I highly suggest that you emphasize your attention to the ball carrier vision rating, even more so than I would suggest you take a look at break tackle, trucking, and those types of things. Of course, break tackle would probably be my next most important rating. These two might be tandem, and honestly, break tackle might be slightly more important. But depending on what you have access to in recruiting, you're not always going to have access to a player that can even get really good break tackle rating. And this guy here, even though he won a Heisman, he's pretty much capped out at this point. He's not going to get a whole bunch more break tackle or trucking unless I do some different things with my coaches to be able to unlock some of those traits. So realistically, he's benefiting majorly from his 95 ball carrier vision. And honestly, that break tackle and trucking rating, stiff arm rating are pretty serviceable. They're right around that 80 mark, which is kind of the threshold I would aim to have with those ratings. Anything 80 and above is going to be serviceable. As those things continue to grow, you're going to see more and more benefit from them. Obviously, you'd like to see a running back that has 90 plus ball carrier vision, 90 plus break tackle, and that would be absolutely phenomenal. Depending on what you're doing with your running back, if you expect them to be able to stiff arm and truck, closer to that 90 range is going to be the more consistent ratings for you. But again, if you don't have good strength with your break tackle, your trucking, your stiff arm, you're not going to pull those off as consistently as you might hope. And again, kind of as I mentioned, I would ignore the awareness rating for the most part. The awareness rating tends to overinflate a player's capabilities, their overall rating, those types of things within the game. Even if it is archetype based, their awareness is going to overinflate things. I will say there is a minimum threshold there. Awareness does impact their ability to get the head around, to be able to see a pass coming in their direction at the right time, to be aware of what they're supposed to be doing on the field. So I would suggest that you're looking for 70 plus awareness in that category, more like 75. But really, you can get away with a running back that doesn't have good awareness as long as you're not depending on them to be a top end receiver for you. And really, finally, what I would suggest to be the final most important ratings for this player would be their spin move and their juke move ratings, depending on what your better moves are for you as a user within the game. I love the spin move. The spin move is very powerful in this game. It feels awesome the way that college football has for a long time. So spin move rating for me is kind of top tier. Being able to get those spins off, knowing when to execute those spins, that is going to be really crucial in my game as a user running back. So anything 80 plus in there is going to start to be serviceable. Anything like 85 plus is really solid, consistent as far as being able to execute spin moves in a tight manner and effectively. Of course, then, though, there is the 360 trait, which can help improve upon that as your spin rating goes up. And then there's a whole bunch of other ratings here that might matter for you or might not matter for you. This guy comes in as a crazy receiving back. In fact, we have some crazy receiving backs kind of across the board. I think that's largely due to the way these players purchase progression, because their receiving capabilities are one of the cheaper ones, so it fills up as you continue to progress those players. But even my low overall freshman comes in with really good receiving ratings, really good catching, catch and traffic, spec catch. He was an athlete player, so he probably also could have played receiver. That's why he has really good route running as well. These do all factor in if you are expecting your running back to be a solid receiver. I would say for a running back to be a solid receiver, you're looking for anything mid-70s into the 80s as far as catching, catch and traffic, and spec catch are concerned. Really, the one that you might want to be more concerned with than anything is the catch and traffic rating, because very often when you throw to a running back, there's going to be a linebacker nearby or even a defensive lineman, and you want them to catch that whenever that player is nearby. So catch and traffic would be the main rating there that's going to affect that. Then short route running, medium route running, release, those can be very useful the better they get. I've noticed some really good route running out of this running back. It's really impressive with that 81 short route running, 72 medium, and 82 release. But the one I would urge you to focus on the most is going to be the release rating, because this is going to affect their ability to get through the offensive line. If you've ever noticed you're trying to throw a screen to a running back, you're trying to throw a Texas route to a running back, an out route, whatever it might be, and they're getting caught up on offensive and defensive linemen, and they're not getting to the point for you to be able to throw them a pass, it's because most of the time their release rating is too low. If their release rating is higher, then they kind of just sift through that line, they kind of morph through that line, they almost just teleport through the line at that point. So having a really good release rating can be absolutely crucial to having a really good receiving running back within college football 25. And then finally, I would just turn your attention towards stamina and injury. This is a position that takes a lot of beating. So while you might find a player here that has really good ratings and things for you, if he's getting injured all the time with, say, an 81 injury rating, that might sway you away from that player towards another player. Injury is really important. If you have that high rating, 90 plus is what you're looking for players to just generally not get injured as a whole. And then you have a stamina rating. Most of these players are going to be above a 90 stamina rating. Realistically speaking, that's going to be good enough in most situations. We play on a higher fatigue setting. We play on like 65 or 70 fatigue. So these players do get fatigued a little bit quicker. In a league like that, it's more important to have a player that has higher 90 stamina. But for most situations, in most games, in most dynasties, your stamina at 90 is going to be very serviceable. And as you can see, this guy led in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, had 1,000 receiving yards. He had no problem being on the field for the most part, even despite our increased fatigue rating. He would sub off pretty much once a drive if it was a longer drive for one of these other running backs, but he would come back onto the field very quickly. So 90 stamina and above is what you're looking for. If it's lower than that, you are putting yourself in some danger, especially with your player getting tired and potentially giving up the football on fumbles and those types of things, which can happen as players get more tired or are playing too tired or too fatigued. But with that being said, I'd like to hear in the comments section below, what do you prioritize? Do you guys prioritize elusive backs, power backs, receiving backs? I know a lot of people like to target athlete running backs, or even maybe move another position like a receiver to a running back. I like to simply target athlete running backs. Those seem to have the best results for me. Athlete elusive back and athlete power backs seem to both turn into really awesome players within all the dynasties that I've tested so far. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Like I said, please leave that feedback down below. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. As always, I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a good one.